Welcome back, chaps, to another Becoming Classic video. Today we're just going to change direction slightly. I'm hoping this helps anyone out with the Transit 2.2, one of the Transit Custom 2.2s. This is a 2015 one we're actually talking about, so but it's just a bit of a heads up on an issue I've been having with it that may be of use to somebody. Okay, the last few mornings, pretty cold mornings, and it's been within 50-100 yards of leaving the house. I'm just getting an immediate warning up on the dash. No dash lights come up, just warning on the dash. Engine service now. You know, big bold, engine service now, and it goes into limp mode, which is a pain in the butt, because as soon as it's gone into limp mode, it won't pull skin off a rice pudding. Believe me, it's so. That means you've got to then find somewhere to pull over. There's traffic behind you, cars up your jack still on it, like what the hell's up with this guy, sort of thing. And so you've got to find somewhere to pull over to be able to cycle ignition, and generally after that it's okay all day. Now, temperature related, you know, that's immediately what my mind sort of swings to. So anyway, did a little bit of digging around, and what sort of jumped out at me a little bit is in the air intake on it, in the intercooler, just under the front bumper, there is a thermistor, 2-wire thermistor sensor that senses intake air temperature sensor. Okay, so she's just got a little resistor in some kind of coating over it, red coating over it near the soldered joint. So just 2 wires, 2 tiny little pins in there, and just before that starts bleeping at me, I'll cycle that on again. All we've got is a cheapy old multimeter. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to test we just need some figures. So what I want to do is I'm just going to try and get a resistance reading in this temperature that we're sat in. If I can get on the pins, that is. Tiniest little you don't need a decent multimeter, but you probably do need slightly better eyes than I've got. Hang on, I've got to try and get it in the right light here, guys. Just bear with me a sec while I get. I'll try and rest it at the side of the plastic housing there to get on these pins. Finally. In fact, what if I did it there? Is that the same? It is. Okay, so what we've got then, if we're doing it this way, the terminals inside here will just go through the 90 and come up through there, and then the actual resistance sensor is there. So if I go on here with 2, just going to go 1 probe on there and 1 probe on there, and it's given me 2.16 kilo ohms. Okay, kilo ohms, 2.16 kilo ohms resistance. Now, with this in mind, I've gone and got a new sensor, a new Lucas sensor. So just bear with me a second, I'll get the part number for it. Part number SNB 1128, air temperature sensor. Right, okay, so with our new sensor, I'm going to measure same place, 18.7. Wow, vast difference. 18.4 to our sensor here, 2.16. We're talking vast differences. So if we think about the ECU for a minute, the way the ECU is programmed to understand data coming in from all sorts of sensors. This particular one, it knows parameters from X to Y, that range in the middle, it can understand and comprehend and knows what to do. As soon as we fall, or a reading, it falls outside the parameters it's programmed to understand, that's when we throw fault codes, etc. Okay. Now, having said that, I don't know if that's, when it's through no lights on, and when I plugged it, first time I did it, I plugged it back in, came home, plugged it into ForScan, nothing on it. Ford's diagnostic software, or the ForScan software. Got the Snap-on Veris out, plugged it into there, no freeze frame data, no codes either. So no direction. It gave me, you know, there's no direction. Once you cycle the key, it then resets, and with a bit of temperature in it, it then seems to clear the fault, but it's just a pain in the butt for the first time in the morning. So with that in mind now, back to these two. These two are vast differences in these two. So what I'm going to do, we now know that that's sacrificial, because I've got a new one anyway. I'm just going to keep the new one out of the way. Okay, and I've got been upstairs and I've got my toothbrush. Right, I've had it a while, as you can see. Yeah, a bit of acetone. What we're going to try and do is just see if cleaning it would make any difference. I mean, that's pretty, you know, there's not a lot to go wrong in there, is there? I mean, how, you know, so I think what can happen is, it's same with mass air sensors, hot wire sensors, that kind of thing, is you get a coating on the sensor and it kind of shields it from the air going over it, so it's kind of insulating it from, and it can give a completely wrong reading. So anyway, okay, giving it a bit of a clean then does that. Change anything. 2.25. Not sure if that did actually, I can't remember what it was. 2.24, I think it's pretty much the same. It's certainly still a million miles away from that one. Okay, so what we're going to do, I must remember to set that upstairs when I go back. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit this sensor, and we're going to do a follow-up on how she behaves in the morning. Got about 80 miles to do tomorrow, so we'll see what it's like with a bit of a run. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll keep you informed, so let's try it. Okay, so did it work? Well, so far so good. Two sensors with completely different resistance readings. Normally, the camera is being held by my glamorous assistant, by the way. Normally it would have happened by here, from cold. I do believe it idles better. So I reckon, doesn't seem to have that diesel crack as much either. So no, definitely doesn't have the diesel crack as much as it did. Well, we'll monitor it ongoing, but I reckon we'll call that a fix. Hope that helps. Okay, just a final recap on this intake air temperature sensor. Yeah, the one mounted in the intercooler, driver's side, just under the front bumper, 11 quid I think it was, and the van
is a different van. Even though it showed no fault codes, it would just have service engine now come up. You have to stop it, go through a cycle the key on and off, and then it would clear and the van would run. But I've noticed lately it's kind of idling a bit harsher perhaps, and you get like a diesel crack sound. And you know what, it's so much smoother, it seems to pull better. So it's definitely a fix. I mean, it's definitely a fix. So I hope it helps somebody out, or somebody who's got one of them on the coming up on the dash. So anyway, best of luck.